Hey, it's Pastor John with you today on Friday as we are now in day 9 of our 40-day journey. And I'm learning that this is making me really dig deeper as a pastor and as a believer, as a husband, father, friend. This Gospel of John passage is a really tough one because John is hearing from his disciples that everybody's going over to Jesus. It says in John chapter 3 these words, the response John gives to his disciples when they say, Rabbi, everybody's going over to the other guy across the way. His name is Jesus of Nazareth, and everybody that you used to have follow you are now following him. And kind of like there's the competition and we're losing our market share of the baptism folk in the river. John's response was simple. He must increase, I must decrease. He must increase, I must decrease. Which is what leads us to our conversation today. When the crowds began to follow Jesus, John's disciples want to warn John about the competition, but John's loyalty is to the bridegroom. John was to prepare the way. Jesus is the way to whom John's been pointing. John's number 2 now, not number 1. It's kind of funny in our culture how many people want to be number 1, but not many people are excited about being number 2. Leonard Bernstein was once asked, the famous conductor, what's the most difficult role in your orchestra for you to find? What part's the hardest to fill? And he said, second violin. So I'm holding my trombone here. There's quite a story about this horn I'll share a later time, but I've spent a lot of time playing horn. I remember when I first started, I wanted to be the lead trombone so bad. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. There's a long story there. And to be first chair, but what I discovered was it's actually harder to blend. It's harder to play second or third. I played bass trombone for a whole year with a much bigger, different horn. But let me tell you something I've learned about playing an instrument or even about being a pastor. It's not about being first or about being lead. It's about serving. It's about blending. It's about being more focused on Jesus than yourself. I think these words are hard to hear, but they're good ones. In our Lenten journey, it may be necessary for us to face the need for a shift in our loyalties. If we are driven by self-interest, our following Christ may be for the sake of what we get out of it. Did you hear that? Well, everybody should compliment my message or my song or my church or my stuff or my ministry. Yet Christ desires for us to be so radically committed to him that our first priorities are to know him and to make him known. It's going to be hard in a competition culture where everybody wants to be number 1. You know, there was a study done I read about soldiers on D-Day that sacrificed their lives, and literally hundreds died just to take a hill. When they planted a flag to say, we conquered this land for freedom, none of them went like this. As a matter of fact, nobody really 50 years ago did this kind of stuff. But it's tempting as a believer to say, we're number, I think maybe it's time to be number 2. To say yes, dear, to your spouse. We'll eat where you like. Or even to your children, what would you want to do this afternoon? To be willing to be second. And to say, how can I serve you? Rather than, how should you serve me? I'll tell you right now, I've not been a pastor just a couple of months until I realized it's really not that important to be the most important person. I want to know more about you and about what you're thinking and about how I can encourage you. If you need a good movie to watch, I'd highly recommend the Mr. Rogers movie, the new one, where he asked the man who's been interviewing him, go back and just be quiet and think about the people who built their life into you. And then he began to get quiet and it really touched him emotionally. Think about the people who loved you, who believed in you, and give thanks for them, and it changed his whole day. Give thanks to the people who took time when you interrupted them to serve them, to love them, and to walk alongside them. Maybe in this Lenten journey we can fast from my own schedule, my own stuff, and give our time away to other people. I feel about 3 loads of laundry coming for me today out of love for my amazing wife of 35 years, who I can't wait to do laundry for, because I want to be a servant like John the Baptist. By the way, when John the Baptist was beheaded, Jesus made the claim that there's never been a disciple greater than John the Baptist. Nobody will ever be greater than John the Baptist. You know why? He handed over the keys to the ministry, to the movement, to Jesus Christ. That's what we need to do. Think about it today. Hand over your ministry to the next pastor. My job is to raise up the next generation of pastors. I'll be gone one day, but where will they be? Or the next leader, or minister, or teacher, or caregiver, or encourager. If you're a teacher, nurse, somebody you can build your life into. And maybe they'll get the credit and you won't, which is exactly what John the Baptist asked us to do right now. Hey, great to be with you. I'll talk to you soon. And yes, I toot my own horn every Sunday. See you soon. Bye.